A major shift is happening in the Middle East, and it's unfolding in a way almost no one predicted. For years, Saudi Arabia and the UAE were the power duo of the Gulf. But today, the relationship is under massive strain. In Yemen, Saudi jets are hitting targets to stop UAE-backed groups. In Sudan, they are supporting opposite sides of the bloody civil war. In Somalia, they are fighting for control over shipping lines in the Red Sea. And while the UAE has leaned into a deep alliance with Israel, Riyadh insists it cannot pursue normalization while Gaza lies in ruins and the West Bank faces annexation. Also, the ongoing genocide in Gaza, the expanding Israeli occupation of the West Bank, and the military incursions into southern Lebanon and beyond the Golan Heights in Syria have forced the region's biggest rivals to find common ground. Today, we are witnessing the birth of a new strategic alliance, Türkiye and Saudi Arabia. This is a defensive wall against regional chaos and a direct response to a changing Israel. And more than that, it's the birth of a new alliance that could turn the region defined by war into a global hub for trade, defense, and tech. Let's break it all down. To understand why Saudi Arabia is turning towards Turkey, we first have to look at why they are pulling away from the UAE. And it comes down to four theaters. First, Yemen. Saudi Arabia wants a unified Yemen to secure its southern border. The UAE, however, has backed the Southern Transitional Council, which wants an independent south. The recent Saudi bombing in Mukalla port was Riyadh's red line, a direct message that it will not tolerate a splintered Yemen controlled by Emirati proxies. In Sudan, it's a similar story. While Saudi Arabia wants to preserve the state and the army to prevent chaos, the UAE has been linked to the RSF, the paramilitary group fighting the army. The RSF has been accused by governments and human rights groups of committing genocide acts in Darfur, driving the displacement of more than 12 million people and playing a central role in a war that has killed an estimated 150,000 Sudanese. Third, the rivalry has spilled into the Horn of Africa over Somalia, with both nations competing for strategic ports and military bases in the Red Sea. And fourth, the UAE has doubled down on its alliance with Israel, viewing it as a vital tech and security partner. Also, UAE's de facto support for Israeli to solidify their presence in Gaza, southern Lebanon, and the Golan Heights, sparking fear of a greater Israel expansion. And this has put them on a collision course with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia feels the UAE's go-it-alone strategy is making the region less stable. To balance this out, Riyadh needs a partner with a real army and a real industry. That partner is Turkey. For Saudi Arabia, Turkey is the perfect counterweight. Unlike the UAE, Turkey shares Saudi's vision of state-led stability and has the hard power to back it up without the historical baggage of the Gulf tribal rivalries. President Erdogan has positioned Turkey as the loudest critic of Israel's genocide in Gaza, as well as its regional military expansionism. For Ankara, Israel's actions in Syria, specifically strikes that destabilize the new Syrian government, are a direct threat to Turkish national security. Both nations now realize that an unchecked UAE and expansionist Israel doesn't just hurt Palestinians, it destabilizes the entire neighborhood. They are now coordinating to be the adults in the room, demanding a sovereign Palestinian state, a unified Syria, and broader stable and cooperative Middle East. Beyond the politics, there is a massive tech explosion happening. Saudi Arabia is pouring trillions into Vision 2030. They want to be a global tech hub. Turkey, meanwhile, has become a drone superpower. We are moving towards a joint defense ecosystem. Saudi Arabia isn't just buying Turkish drones like the Akıncı. It's moving towards building them together. And beyond closed doors, there are serious talks about Riyadh joining Turkey's Kaan 5th generation fighter jet program, Turkish unmanned fighter jet Kızıl Elma, as well as AI-driven naval swarms. But this isn't only about weapons, it's about independence. At the same time, the two countries are expanding cooperation in energy, logistics, AI infrastructure, and trade connecting the Arabian Gulf with Europe. They are also reviving the historic Hijaz route, reconnecting the region economically and making Hajj pilgrimage possible by land again. The logic is simple. Combine Saudi capital with Turkish engineering and battlefield-tested technology, and you create a third way, one that doesn't depend on Washington's approval. Imagine a future where Saudi AI software runs on Turkish-made hardware, creating a Silicon Valley of the Middle East. This partnership makes them independent of both the US and China. If it works, this could reshape regional power, boost trade and prosperity, and turn rivalry into something the Middle East rarely gets: long-term stability. And the most critical change of this cooperation is already out, and it's Syria. After 14 years of war, Syria is finally stabilizing under a new transitional reality. This is where the Saudi-Turkish partnership becomes a superpower. With Syria stable, Turkey becomes the gateway for Saudi, Qatar gas, and petrol to reach Europe, and Saudi Arabia becomes the gateway for the Turkish goods to reach the Indian Ocean. For the first time in decades, a Turkish truck can drive from factories of Anatolia through a peaceful Syria and deliver goods directly to Riyadh in just days. This replaces the weeks-long journey through the Suez Canal. It will take hundreds of billions to rebuild Syria. Saudi Arabia has the capital. Turkey has the world's most experienced construction firms. By stabilizing Syria, they aren't just helping Syrians, they are blocking both Iranian influence and Israeli attempts to fragment the country. They are creating a zone of stability that connects Europe to the heart of Arabia. We are at the crossroads. On one side, we see the continuation of occupation, Greater Israel rhetoric, and proxy war supported by the UAE. On the other, we see this new Turkey-Saudi axis, a partnership built on reality that peace is more profitable than war. If Ankara and Riyadh can hold this line, they won't just change their own fortunes. They will turn the Middle East into what it was always meant to be, the center of global trade, a hub of innovation, and a region where the decision to take life finally replaced by the decision to build a future. What do you think? Can the Saudi-Turkish partnership actually survive the complex politics of Israel and the UAE? Or is this just another temporary truce? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.